Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I am Jeff.
And we're coming to you with a post-Thanksgiving feast-a-thon of an episode. It's going to have BGG Con. It's going to have Thanksgiving gaming from me and my family. It's going to have Jeff and friends Shredsgiving gaming. And it's going to have all of that stuff. But first, a word from our holiday sponsor, Givewell. Donating money to help people can be a wonderful and selfless act. But how can you feel confident that your donations are improving or saving lives effectively? You could do weeks of research to find the charities that are out there, what programs they run, how effective those programs are, and how the charity might use your money. Or you could visit givewell.org. There, you'll get a short, vetted list of the best charities they've found at saving or improving lives per dollar. Givewell spends over 20,000 hours each year researching charitable organizations and only recommends a few of the highest impact, evidence-backed charities that they've found. Over 50,000 donors have used Givewell to donate more than $750 million. Rigorous evidence suggests that these donations will save tens of thousands of lives and improve the lives of millions more. And here's the best part. Givewell is free. Givewell wants to empower as many donors as possible to make informed decisions about their donations. They publish all of their research and recommendations on their site for free. No sign-up required. They allocate your tax-deductible donation to the charity you choose without taking a cut. We have a listener feedback email from one of the fans of the show, specifically very excited about the fact we've partnered with Givewell. Because they've used them in the past.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately means
an extremely respectable opinion.
Yes, the highest.
The highest of respectable
And that
opinions.
we're not actually being sarcastic.
No,
Easily one
yeah,
of the most respectable opinions of all
someone
of
that
our
would talk
fans.
about these things that we'd be like, yes, I trust you for the opinion on the thing that you're giving.
Indeed. Unfortunately, he's been using Givewell for a long time and won't be able to benefit from the promotion they're running with us, but the rest of you can. If you've never donated to Givewell's recommended charities before, you can have your donation matched up to $250 before the end of the year or as long as matching funds last. To claim your match, go to givewell.org and pick podcast and then enter Mile High Game Guys at checkout. Make sure they know you heard about Givewell from Mile High Game Guys to get your donation matched. So yeah, the respected email that you'll be hearing later, it's from the hater himself.
He hates us.
He hates us, and he still was like, came out of the woodwork to be like...
begrudging respect to that point.
Yep, he was like, well done. Well done. Yeah. So we're partnering with Givewell through the holiday season here, as that is a time when charitable giving is at its highest.
Some would say, 'tis the season.
Indeed. And so we're partnering with them. We're going to promote their message a little bit. They were brought to our attention by another fan, one of our Australian listeners, who's also worked with them in the past and was like, hey, these guys are really great, and I'd like to set you guys up. And they did. And now we're on their website. And you can even, when you go to the podcast, there's a little drop down, Mile High Game Guys.
Boom.
Click
Finally legitimate.
I know. So.
We're a legitimate podcast. Finally, 5 years in.
Yeah.
We made it onto a charitable organization's website. Yeah. We also have a letter from our U.S. House representative still.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Because of our Westward listing.
Back in our first year when we were the best board game podcast in Denver.
I'll take it.
It's true. Because Commerce City had heavy cardboard. Yep. Technically not Denver.
Yep. And now Denver is lacking.
Yeah.
I still live in Denver. I have a Denver address, people. I'm still just clinging on to what makes us a Denver podcast.
But technically they don't count, but you do. That's our wheelhouse right there.
Yeah. I like it.
Woo!
All right. Engagement period engaged. Let's move on to what we've been playing.
Ofer has a critical... it even auto-completes our entire name.
Oh,
I've always wished us to be auto-completed.
Yep.
And now, today is the day.
Amazing.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's jump right in. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about because it's been 2 weeks. We took a week off for Thanksgiving. We tried to squeeze an episode in, but between Zach landing from BGG Con,
landing from Dallas at 8:40 p.m.
I was supposed to be back at 6:45 and or some 6:15, somewhere around there, and then I didn't actually get to my car till 9:30, and I was like, "Ah, great."
Yeah, so. which is the latest of the late when we would finish. Any of these.
Yeah, even that one was going to be a stretch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and then Megan and I, our alarms went off at 3:00 Monday morning to get in the car and drive 18 hours to Detroit. So anyhow,
didn't line up on the last week.
Yeah,
no.
So, but we're back, and we're going to go strong here through the rest of the holiday season.
Hard strong.
2 weeks off did give us a chance for all of us to play a bunch of games. So what we've been playing, full, just chock fucking full,
chock full
at capacity,
chock.
So Zach, how about you start us off? You're going the furthest back into the reaches of time. You've been sitting over there. Just occasionally a new game just falls out of your ear and you write it on the paper.
I did have Oprah. I was like, "Hey, can you just send me your link for every game that you played at BGG?" Because there's I asked him a couple, and then I ended up getting 3 or 4 more games off of that too. So
perfect.
I
dive into your list.
Perfect. BGG Con. I went there. It was fun for the most part.
And you've done this before.
I had done this.
You're not a first timer.
Yes. And this time I wasn't.
You're not a Dallas virgin?
No.
No, those bumpy roads that other time.
Yes.
Very true. They took that.
Yeah. And we still saw
roads.
Yeah, we still saw plenty of those not great roads there too. But I was actually staying at the hotel this time, which was nice. Anytime I go there in the future, I will be doing the same thing.
I think that's what I'm gonna do for Geekway. After staying in the hotel at Geekway, it's like, oh no, this is much better.
Yeah. So I played a bunch of games. I'm not gonna discuss the majority of them.
The minutia.
Yeah, the minutia of them, but I'll mention a couple that I played. So started off, and I was meeting a couple listeners and some people from Denver here, but they were coming through various days.
Yes. Spread out.
So it was on Wednesday. It was just Lance, Ofer, his girlfriend.
Lance, arguably more popular than we could ever be.
Yes, 100%.
Lance does seem to know just someone everywhere he's ever been.
Yes.
I'm amazed.
He was playing a prototype of Weather Machine the other day.
In New York. And he's just drops oh, those are some content creators. Okay, if you're gonna have to smooth it, just being content creators, you can't even name drop.
Lance, not a content creator, plays more shit than we do.
Yes. He just knows everybody. So
knows him, man.
Yep.
Spent a lot of time in hot tubs with people.
I'll take your word on that.
Yeah.
But some of the first games I played in the beginning, the first day. So I did The Hunger, which is a game from Richard Garfield. It's basically like Clank, but it was
a Gen Con thing too.
Yes,
I want to say.
Yeah, it's like Clank, but with vampires. Wasn't a big fan of it. It just how the mechanism for how it worked wasn't. Also, as a deck builder, you only drew 3 cards per turn, and it's I'm a deck. I want to have a lot of cards and be able to do a lot of combo stuff.
That's kind of how Lost Ruins of Arnak felt. It's and it's a deck builder, but I only have 8 cards at a time.
Yeah.
So that seems not building much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was more interesting though than this one.
Okay. All right. Lost Ruins of Arnak greater than.
Yes.
The Hunger.
So it was very I played 10, which is a card game that has push your luck aspects as well as an auction mechanic in it. Your and set collection because you're trying to collect 1 through up to 9 of various colors. There are wild cards that appear, and when those appear, that's when you actually do the auction of it because it costs. Those are good cards, so you want to pay money for it. It was okay. The Push Your Luck was interesting in the sense that you were trying to as cards were coming out. There were positive and negative cards that were balancing, and you didn't want to get too high or too low before you chose which stack you wanted. One gave you money, the other one gave you actual cards.
Okay.
But there was if you chose the cards, then everybody else would get the money. But if you chose the money, then the cards would go to to a market pile, basically. It was all right. It wasn't anything too special.
Okay. Inauspicious start.
Yeah. Like I said, the majority of the stuff was it was all right. There we go. So then I also played Sleeping Gods from Ryan Lockett.
Okay, how was that?
It was all right. It was cool. It looks like it's a giant campaign, but in the sense of Seventh Continent, that you just sort of are doing stuff until you're finished. There was just no concrete ending point for us. We just sort of played for a while, and then we're like, we're just gonna stop here. And it seems like there's a lot of like branching narratives in it that gives you a lot of like repeat plays, but it was interesting. That one,
I own a lot of it and have yet to play it, so I look forward to actually playing it.
Yeah, I would definitely say play it at some point. So you didn't waste. Don't just immediately throw it away. So you know,
it's like it's unpunished. I guess it's just going in the fucking burner.
Yep.
Gotta heat the house.
Yeah, it's a cold winter.
No, if you know,
yeah. Fucking.
I mean, if you had the hunger, I would suggest just putting that in there. But
okay, put the hunger in the fire, but do not put Sleeping Giants in it. The metal coins would probably take some time to melt. So
yes,
yeah,
yes,
and the signed journal I got from Ryan Lockett.
That's true. Yeah,
might have a relatively low melting point.
I don't know. We'll find out. They're nice coins though. I don't like them.
I don't know where that other thing
High
went.
praise from Ofer.
Yes.
It was Game of the Con.
Game of the Con for him.
Okay.
Yeah. It was cool. He wanted to play it because he wanted to decide whether or not he'd buy it. And
it's not a cheap game.
Yeah, and
I think I pre-ordered back early this year and got it many months later. And I have the expansions that were at Gen Con pre-ordered for Miniature Market that might show up next year. I don't know. We'll find out.
Okay. That was the last one I played. Dice Miner. Dice Miner is if you've seen it, like the image of it is like a cardboard thing that has a bunch of dice like in a mountain pattern that you're drafting. It's a dice drafting game.
Okay.
And you're trying to get pairs for points, and like if you have the most of something, like there's like a scoring thing every round. But the interesting thing to me was like there was a bunch of dice in the beginning, and I thought you like put them back and then redrafted them, but you keep drafting more and more dice. Like near the end, it felt like we each had like 20 dice each. And, and like they have a bunch of different powers, and so it was interesting to actually have it build as you're going through the game.
Okay.
So that one was fun. I like that one. The next day, Bad Company. It plays similarly to Space Base, I think that's what it's called, and Machikoro.
Okay.
But this one you're trying to do heists. So you're trying to collect symbols through rolled dice to mark off enough on these heists to get like paintings and money and things like that, and then it's like set collection for those. Whoever has the most, you get this little necklace thing. One interesting thing on here was as you're getting more cards and you're putting them on the characters, their waist keeps growing longer and longer because it's like it would have it was just interesting because Ofer had he kept getting like he kept stacking up his 6 thing on his board, so there were like 7 cards. So that guy had a fucking I think we said that it was like every time he had another card, it was another 2-pack you were adding to his abs. So at that point it was like a 16 or 18
Jeez.
His pack was huge, dude.
But yeah. And it was nice that on everybody else's turn, like you roll, so when it's your turn, you roll 4 dice and you make it 2 pairs, and then you get to activate both those numbers, but everybody else gets to activate one of them. Okay. So you still get to do stuff on other people's turn.
Okay.
But when you didn't have the ability to really, like the numbers that you wanted never came up, you were just falling behind. It happens on those sort of games.
Really bad in like Machikoro.
Yeah.
You can get real hosed in Machikoro.
Yeah. Which on Machikoro, like unless somebody rolls, like you get the negative cards to take money from people, or you got the ones that it happens on other people's turn. Usually it was only on your own.
Yeah.
So it was interesting for that, but I've heard some people like Space Base a little bit more than this. Some people like this one a little bit more. It was interesting. I'm glad I had played it, but I'm not
Not dying for more.
Not dying to go pay for it at least.
Okay.
Next one was Bites. It was a game about ants, like a trail of food that ants were picking food. It was okay. It done.
Which one was that?
Bites.
Bites.
Not Ants in the Pants.
No, we played just the. I think the problem for me, I'd probably play it again because we played it with just the barest of rules for it. Very beginner, which just meant that there were almost no interesting decisions going on for me. So it was just like, I'm going to get this, whatever.
Okay.
Zach's entire wrap up, I will just kind of be making callbacks to when I talk about most of my games. It's weird. Multiple things he's talked about has like come up in also the games I played. There will be at least one Machikoro reference in one of the games I played.
Then we played Anno 1800.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
A Martin Wallace game. This game, I definitely agree with.
It was
Ofer.
a hot game at Geekway.
We ended up playing it in the hot games room. So those were actually in, like, they were set up on the table. You just walk in, come and play them, and then leave. And then
like a
you couldn't rent them or anything. Yeah,
area, but you could play the full game.
Yeah. It had some interesting parts. It's definitely one of those things of a tech tree of the game, because you start with all these generic things, and then you can use workers to upgrade to get resources that you then use to get new technology and like new, more specialized ones. And those things you need better workers for, so you have to upgrade those workers. And then like you have your own starting, like just your own board that you can add new world and old world stuff. Like new world gets you like trading things for specific materials like tobacco or cotton or some things that are you can't get otherwise. And then the old world one just expands to get you more places to put more technology.
Okay.
But we were just doing that, and how the game ends is if somebody runs out of cards in their hand. But anytime you add new people to your area, you get more cards to play. So it's honestly a lot worse than like Terraforming Mars in that ability of like you can focus on your engine instead of trying to finish the game.
Sure.
Focusing your engine on this like actively lengthens the game.
Oh.
So think of it if a lot of like in Terraforming Mars, like if it was like playing certain cards reduced, like you had you remove oceans or things like that. It just versus just not focusing on it, like because the more cards you have, the longer it's going to take for you to actually finish things. The first half was interesting enough, but then we were just like, I think Lance was the one that ended it. We're like, Lance, what can we do to help you end this? Oh, you need this? We're going to build these things that you can use. Because when you
had just the smallest hand, so he was the closest to ending it.
And it was if you had, like, if I made a technology, you could use it because there's only like 2 technology on the board, and they're like 4 people, so not everyone can make it. But if you had this trading token, you just use that trading token, use more of them for higher workers, but you would just use those, and then you get access to that tech to then build something higher.
Okay.
So that's where, like, what tech do you need us to build that you can then build up from? So I wouldn't play it again. It was a lot.
Okay.
A lot of just building tech that it just was like, yeah. Let's see. Honey Buzz, played that one next. That was the one that we almost talked about. Then we're like, no, but none of us played it.
Yeah.
The Kickstarter for the expansion.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you. Which, that was another thing that Over wanted to play because the expansion was almost done. Like the Kickstarter was almost done. So we're like, we should play this, see if we actually want to back it. So this one was worker placement. And then you're also it's like a puzzle aspect that you're trying to use these honeycombs. And it's a 2x1 honeycomb that you're putting in different areas that when you leave empty spots, you then activate all the symbols around that spot that actually lets you do a bunch of different things. And then those empty spots is where you actually put the nectar that turns into honey that you can then sell. It was interesting, but we played it at 4 players, and it seems like you'd want to do, I don't know, it seems like you don't have less people, because it felt like when you had those exploding actions, we'll call it, where you're doing a bunch of stuff, it felt like your turn, because normally you would just choose one action and just do it and you're done. But then once you close off an area, then you could be doing technically upwards of like 6 different actions. And there are one of those actions is a wild that lets you do any other action. So when those things activate, it can take a little while for somebody to figure out exactly how they want it to chain and how they're selling stuff and moving things around. So I feel like with 2 I think I've heard 3 players is the best for that one. So I would play it again at that, but I did not end up backing the game after playing it. Because I looked at the fall favors thing, and it seemed like it was just adding more instead of anything new. So, like, okay.
Ofer in chat says it's really pretty, but it's a shame it's not a little bit better.
Yes, I agree with that. Next up is a thing called block Ness, where you're all
okay.
Yeah, it's a pun on
block
Ness.
Block, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And in fact, I'm going to show you a picture of it just so you understand the reference.
Is it like Loch Ness?
That's what it looks like.
Oh, that's cool. I like the way that looks.
Yep. You're all
a lot of 3D terrain in there.
Yes. So the terrain, it's actually your body. There are 4 different colors and they all are different like sizes, which is sort of interesting because they can be various heights, various lengths. On your turn, you're basically extending your body through one of these directions, and you're just trying to place it's like sort of like Blockus in the sense that you're trying to expand your area, but you can get caught not being able to expand if you don't have a piece that's like small enough to stay on the board. But like we ended up tying, I think, with one. No, we didn't end up tying, but the tie is usually like whoever has the highest head.
Okay.
So like there's a little bit of strategy there on which one you're trying to do, but with 3 players, it felt like there wasn't as much blocking as I would like in it.
Okay.
But there are definitely some parts where it was just like, I think because you can move either your head or your butt, that it was really hard to fully lock someone in. But they're definitely like halfway through the game, maybe a little 2/3 of the way, we're like, okay, I think it was Lance. We're like, Lance, you can't move your head anymore. We have fully locked it in, and now he just was moving his butt in various spots, but he was able to
flailing his rear end.
Yes.
Sounds like Lance.
To secure the victory that way.
to secure the victory.
Yeah.
Flailing his rear end.
Yep.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So that was that one. And then the last one I played for that, well, I played the Crew Deep Sea Mission. Still a great game, but you know that game. So we played Picture Perfect, which is basically everybody has their own like little hidden area, and you're trying to build a picture with a bunch like 20 different cardboard cutouts of people and animals and plants and food and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the end result of the game is once everybody is done, you're going to take a picture. You're going to take an actual picture of your how you have everything set up, and you're scoring points based off of that. Because there are however many different characters there are. There are 3 cards that you put in their like little like portfolio thing that describe their wants. Their wants could be, I want to be in the back. I want to be in the front so nobody's covering me. I want to be next to this person. I want to make sure that person can't be seen. I want to be next to the table. I don't want any guys around me. I only want girls around, something like that, right?
Okay.
And on your turn, you're gonna have three of those characters. You're gonna look at them and you're gonna slowly place them along, and then at the end of the rounds, a card will get played that'll be like, "Hey, choose one of your portfolios and give it to somebody else," and then the other person will choose one of the 2 you have left. Or so there are ways to give them around, but you can also near the end of the 4 or 5 rounds, I was holding on to one character because I didn't want anybody to know the rules for that character. But then somebody ended up grabbing it at random, and I was like, God damn it. Because there are cards you can put in that are called VIP cards.
Okay.
and you can put them in and they score twice. So it's like, I know what this person's doing. I am able to fulfill all of their stuff successfully. So I want them to score more. And technically you could also put a VIP card in there if you want. So it could score 2, 3, 4 times.
Oh, wow.
But
okay.
if you have a character in your picture that is incorrect, or like that you don't fulfill any of their requirements, it's actually negative points. And that means if they are 100, like you have them in 100% the wrong spot and they are scoring VIP, then you are scoring negative points twice, 3 times, 4 times. So you can choose not to have someone on the board if you just have no idea, but you also aren't getting any points when you do that. Now, sometimes their rules can be like, I want to be in the back row. I want to be in the front row. And then I also don't want to be next to the, like, so there can be contradicting requests. There can also be the same requests. So, but it seems each game you can change those up so it can play fairly differently each time. It was pretty interesting. I liked it. 1 person raid. Nice. Third day, I played Santa Monica. Didn't like it. Not even going to talk about it.
You didn't like Santa Monica?
No.
Huh,
It was.
okay.
I
You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to.
Okay. It was just the people I was playing with. It was people's first time playing, but it was with Boyd, his friend. I forget his friend's name, and then Ofer. We were playing with 4 people. It took a lot longer than the game should have. So, and also it was one of those games that some people just like weren't getting until like halfway through, which is understandable. Because they had me teach it, but I didn't really understand how the game was working until like 2 or 3 turns into it. I was like, oh, okay, now all of this is making sense. I think if I played it again, it would be a lot quicker. But you're just trying to move you're just trying to move dudes around your peer to score points. Is all it is. You're adding stuff and you're adding requirements. They want to have certain like waves, or they want to have like entertainment things or something like that. So there's there's like 3 different types of people, and they can move around and like they want to go to other spaces, but it was okay. Cubidos. So this is a game that is Quest for El Dorado by way of couriers. So instead of deck building, it's it's dice building. This one was a lot of fun for me. It has a push your luck aspect that you can re-roll, but then so on your turn, you choose up to however many dice you can have at once. In your roll spot, you roll all those dice. Any dice that roll an active face, so that isn't blank, you put it into the active area. Then you can choose to re-roll. If you re-roll dice, you get more active ones. You can put it out. But if you ever re-roll and you get all blanks, then you check to see how many dice you have in the active area. If it's 3 or more, then you've busted. So early on, if you just roll all blanks, you're like, sweet, I just get to re-roll again.
Okay.
But if you're like, I've got 4 dice here, they're not that great, and the die I really want is out here that I want to re-roll again, like there's that,
risk it.
You got to risk it for the biscuit. So it is a race, like I was saying. And so a majority of the things you're doing is movement. And if there are certain spaces on the board that'll let you get like permanent money, which you can save up to get some of the more expensive dice later on, or you can use it to cull. That's the word. Cull bad dice. Because you start with real crappy dice that you want to see your other ones later on, especially when you're rolling. Like you get a lot of them because you still have to go from your main pool before you can pull from your discard.
Mm-hmm.
So you're cold there. It was interesting. I liked it. There, it's just like Warriors. There's a bunch of different powers for each of the dice, because there are like 12 different dice that were going on there, and each of them had like 3 or 4 cards. So each of the there were more than one like racing circuit on there that it seemed like it had teleportation for like shortcuts, but you had to get certain things at certain points. It seemed like it was definitely like one of my favorite games that I played of the con, I think, because I love dice, I love Quest, and it seemed like they were really well. That was one that we wanted to play near the beginning, and then we're like, we saw it once, I think, and we're like, oh, we'll get it back later. And then it took like 3 days before we actually had a chance to see it again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We played Detective Club, which is basically like Dixit or Mysterium or Obscuro of that style thing.
Yeah, describing a picture and trying to get people
I've never
to guess
been that
it.
big a fan of those games. It is another one of those games.
Okay.
So, I played. I don't remember the other, but it was a game called Espresso something. I don't remember what the other one is. I'll have to look it up in a second. If Lance was here, he would remember maybe. But this one, you have 5 spaces in between, like me and you.
Okay.
And you have three spoons, 3 like little espresso
cups. You
cups.
shared a picture of it. It looks really cool.
Yeah. And then 3 saucers. And each of you have half a deck that you're trying to score, and how you score it is you're trying to get things in certain positions. So it's like, I want to have a spoon that has nothing, a spoon that's by itself, or I want to have like the white cup and the brown saucer, and then the brown cup and then the white saucer right next to each other.
Okay.
But
Espresso Doppio.
That's it. Thank you. But on your turn, you have to move something, and you can move any amount of one space to another. It didn't have to be adjacent, but you can never have 2 saucers or 2 spoons there, right? And then you can, if you want, swap some, but it's still, you have to swap at least one thing for another, so you can't put it into an empty spot. And so you're just trying to plan around because you have 3 cards, and you're trying to get as many of those scored on your turn as you can. But that's the same with you. So you're trying to move stuff. I'm trying to move stuff. But then once one person gets through their stack of 8 cards, we stop, and then we swap. The next person goes, and then we swap cards. So now you have the same cards that I was trying to go for, and I have the cards that you were trying to go for. And then it is whoever then finishes their stack first wins.
Okay.
Yeah. That was pretty interesting. I do feel, though, that there was not enough stuff moving around that was truly hard to block somebody, because it always seemed like it was better for you to try and score on your own, like to score your stuff, than for me to try and stop you from scoring your things.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
I could see some aspects where it would be better, but it was interesting. I do feel like I wish there was a little bit more to it.
Can you see what the other person's working on?
Yes, you can see it in front of them. Yeah.
Okay.
But when it's just like, you need to have 3 saucers next to each other, and there's only 5 spaces, it's like,
yeah, it's not
but
hard.
I need saucers next to each other for other things. And so if I'm doing that, then there's nothing I can really do to stop you from getting like your 3 saucers.
Uh-huh.
I do like that the more complicated the card is, the more points it was worth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still about finishing those cards. So even though it's only worth 1 point, that, having the 3 cups next to each other, or the two spoons or something like that, is a lot easier to do if it's going to get you to finish the game before I get a chance at scoring again. So
cool.
Let's see. Played the Night Cage again. They seem to enjoy it, and like the last time I played, it was barely fucking won. Like there were 2 I think there were 2 tiles left.
Yeah.
When everybody was finally there. So we played with 5 players. Still enjoy the game.
Cool.
Hues and Cues. Played that one. Party game about colors.
Yeah.
That one was fun.
Did anybody give a Paisley clue?
No, because
people know that Paisley's not a color.
we know that. Well, not exactly that, but we know in a color game we should give color clues.
Oh, okay.
No one said plaid or anything like that. So.
It's a shame.
I know.
I mean, plaid's almost always going to be a red. It's going to be a red color. Not all plaid is red, but if you're playing a color game and someone says plaid, you better guess red.
Flannel.
Also red. Also red.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was always nice when you Ofer and I had a lot of, oh God, that's right. Ofer was like, I think one of his clues was Baltimore Ravens.
Ofer was telling you that Boyd was giving.
That's what I meant. Sorry. Boyd was giving football clues out, like 2 or 3 turns into it, Boyd got somebody else to play for him, so it just didn't seem like it was his style of game, which is fine.
Yeah.
But
Because he's not smart.
was not saying that.
Boyd. Sorry about that.
I
I agree with Mike Jones. Cleveland Browns. That'd be a great clip.
Oh, I mean,
Brown or orange?
Yeah.
It's the Cleveland Browns. It's got to be the orange. It's the helmet.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just said the word brown. Is that?
Yeah, you can't say the word brown.
You can. Brown isn't
No.
the primary enough one.
Oh,
Because you can say like
that's
you can say
true.
like aubergine
Yeah.
or
Bronco. Someone did give Broncos as a clue, and I think I ended up getting like the exact color that he was going for, which is always a nice feeling.
yeah.
Like that first placement, and then it gets slapped right on, and you get those 3 points. Ofer and I were matching pretty well, but I think he ended up winning that one. I liked it. It was a fun one, but also I don't know if I'd own it.
Yeah.
But
I'd play it if someone brought it to game night.
exactly, yeah.
Which I think has happened recently.
I did it?
I think so.
Oh, nice.
If someone brought it and then was like, Zach,
Strange.
would you like to play that?
Strange last month, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that might be why I didn't see it.
Man.
I was playing Tricarian for all night long until I
Eternity.
took
That sounds
off.
right. Let's see. Oh yeah, Dice Throne, played that one. 2-player dice battling game. Everybody has unique abilities, but then it's Yahtzee but with a theme.
Okay.
That's what it is. It was enjoyable enough, but I don't need to own it because that's what it is.
Don't you worry. They're making their own millions of
Exactly.
dollars.
Yeah.
They're gonna do fine without you, Zach.
Fossilis. This was a game about paleontology, and you're trying to get dinosaur bones.
Okay.
It had this cool 3D setup where you had all of these tiles that were stacked on top of each other that were stacked on top of dig sites. So it was a plastic like waffle looking thing
Okay.
that had a bunch of little crevices that had various bones in there.
Okay.
Like they're little operation sized ones that you sort of randomly put in there,
Sure.
and you like shake them up too, so it's you don't have any idea on what you're getting. Yeah, that is very true. Yeah. It was one of my least favorite games, unfortunately.
Highlight, low light.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It had some cool mechanics, especially because you are using the tiles, like your actions are like pushing them. Like
Okay.
that's how you uncover them, and you like once you make spaces, then you can get at the bones in the dig sites, and you actually have this tweezer for grabbing things. But you have to get like plaster to be able to get certain pieces. You need more plaster for like a hip or a skull versus just like a claw or something like
Okay.
that. And then you're using those to score dinosaurs. You get them, put them in your lab. Once you get whatever bones they need, you score those points. And there are the tiles that you're pushing off. They're either like dirt, clay, or stone. And as they go up in difficulty, they have more rewards on them. The rewards are I forget what they're called, but you use those to buy either tools or like extra plaster or things like that, whatever the cards were saying. And you're just going on until the plaster supply runs out. Then there's an event, and you basically do that 4 times, and then that's the end of the game. For a cool idea of a game, it just did not work at all for Ofer and I. I don't really know why. I can't describe it other than it just wasn't. It had somehow combining it made it all worse. Like it had individual pieces that were cool, but then when you combine it, it just didn't connect. And then the last one, I also played Res Arcana, and I actually played Res Arcana.
Woo!
Yeah. That one was a fun one. You're trying to gain resources to get cards, and then you have your own like personal deck to go through, and once somebody gets to 10 points, they win. I played it with Boyd, and
I'm sorry.
no, he was fine in that one. But he was hovering, like there are places of power which you can buy with a bunch of resources, and they're themed around different specialties, and he was waffling on whether or not he wanted to get the dragon nest or go for something else. I think it was called like a demon forge or something like that. He ended up going with the demon forge, which is good because I think there are I don't know how many there are, but I want to say there are 5 or 6 dragons in like the entire deck.
Mm-hmm.
And the dragon nest, when you put a dragon out, if you use that, then you get -3 resource cost to them. And I had 4 dragons in my hand, and so I very much wanted that because that's -12 resources basically for using it. And then also I had a gold engine and it wanted to use gold for upgrading its point thing, and so I was able to buy it. And then I very quickly, because the dragons are nice because they can just attack all the other person's shit, and so once I was able to get all those dragons out, then I attacked all of his things so he couldn't do anything, and then I was just slowly collecting points, and then I ended up winning. It was a lot of fun. I like that game. I would play more of it.
Okay. Cool.
And then last up is Red Cathedral. That and Cubidos are tied for my favorite games of the con. This one is about, you're building the Red Cathedral, you're building a bunch of towers.
Communism.
Yeah. And it has a rondelle sort of thing, but with dice. And on your turn, you can either lay claim to one of the tower pieces, so that you're saying you're going to build it. You can either deliver goods that you have onto the tower to finish it, or you can move along this track with the dice in order to get resources. And you move however much the dice, however many pips there are, and then however many dice are at that spot you end up, you get that many resources of whatever it is it's saying. So it's gems or like 2 clay or 2 whatever. And so their strategy of like trying to be like, oh, I want to use this one to move here because it's going to give me 2 of this thing versus moving this other one that's going to give me 1 of something else that I need. There were 5 dice, of which you can always spend money to move the white die, which is just a general die, or the whatever color your die was. You can spend to move that one as well. So if you get close enough, you can spend a little bit of money to get it where you need it to go. And then when you claim pieces of the tower, it'll give you tokens that you can put on the dice faces, or the dice spots on your board, so that when you use that die, it will then activate to either give you resources or give you whatever this other die is on, or something like that. So that's how you, like, as you go through the game and you claim more spots, you're gonna be able to start getting a lot more resources. One interesting thing is that if you finish a portion of your tower before somebody else does and you're higher up than them, it punishes them because they haven't finished their bottom tower yet, but you've already finished yours, so they lose points that way, and that can technically happen multiple times. So if I finish the 3rd one and you and Jeff haven't finished yours and you're on like the 1st and the 2nd, you each would lose a point, and then say you finish yours is on the 2nd, Jeff is going to lose another point. So it gives you some ways to mess with other people. And then it's also, Jeff is like, I need to fucking finish this one because I don't want to lose more points. And then at the end of the game, it's each tower is scored by however many features it has on it. So you can build like the claims count 1 towards that, but because it's just the piece itself. But then also you can add like the top of a tower or a window or a door, like little with ornaments. And those will give you extra claim to it. And you're like, whoever has the most claim on one tower is going to get a bunch of points. And then the next person will get half what you got. And then the next person will get half of that. And so like you can try and go focus big on the one single tower, or try and get like 2nd or 3rd on all the towers or something like that. I think I ended up barely winning because I focused somewhat on the big tower, but then also spread out otherwise.
Okay.
But it was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Seems like it's a good game in a vaguely small box.
Yeah, it's also like only like $30 or something like that.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Reprint, reissue. It was like an older game, right?
Sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. That has been recreated.
I thought the name sounded familiar.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all the games I played at BGG Con. And the only other game I played outside of that Jeff is going to talk about. So we'll just get to it then.
But after and is technically after BGG Con. So.
Yeah.
Right on. Do you want to go next then, Jeff?
Sure. Jeff played games. So I went to game night Wednesday, and then I left for
Shredsgiving
right after
at the condo.
From game night, I'm pretty sure.
Straight from Burns?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I didn't get up to the condo until like 11:30 and everyone was asleep. So
Yeah.
So went to Burns Family Artisanal Ales. We were literally the only people there, the game night people. There was no other customers that evening except the people that were there for game night. It's the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, the busiest drinking night of the year. So
yeah, probably fine.
Yeah. I walked in and you guys were playing the crew.
Yes.
And then we decided to play / put all of our cartographers stuff into the boxes that we had just purchased.
Correct.
Well,
that I had just purchased.
You had just purchased. I had backed many months earlier, but also had just received. But the retail pledge at Black and Red had come in, so Zach went and bought that there.
And they had the Kickstarter version, so I was just
it's not the Kickstarter version. It's the retail pledge for the big box collector's edition, which is only available from cons or their website after the Kickstarter.
I feel like just saying Kickstarter version is a lot more simpler than what you just said.
No, it's not. So we put all the shit in the cartographer's box, the new collector's box. All the fancy colored pencils fit in there as well, which is nice.
Yeah,
it does come with colored pencils now and regular pencils.
It's good to have variety.
Yes. But the colored pencils it comes with don't have erasers, and only the pencils have erasers. But my colored pencils are also dull and come with erasers.
Yes,
so
he needs a pencil sharpener.
Absolutely need a fucking pencil sharpener. So we played on the new lava map of cartographers, heroes specifically. So now you have like hero cards that are like the ambush cards, but you can like negate monsters with them. They also count as filled spots.
Yep.
And you can put spaces over them so they don't fill up. So they're like a hero, but like the archer hero, you put it down and it puts a line of 3 out in front of it. And any of that in line of 3 will destroy monsters or count as stars that if monsters go in it later are also destroyed. But you can also put terrain in there, which are not destroyed because it still counts as an open space.
For like a monster that's destroyed, do you erase it?
No.
You put a big X in it.
It's still filled, but it doesn't count negative.
Yes.
Okay,
it's
cool.
now just an X'd out spot.
Cool.
Yeah.
So what the lava map does, there's a volcano on there, and there's 3 volcano cards that will come up that will have like your polyominoes on them that will count as X spots. You can put it over other things and it will destroy them as well, but you always have to place it adjacent to the volcano or adjacent to shapes you've already lavaed, basically.
But
adjacent to the volcano or adjacent to other lava.
But you are choosing where they go. It's not like somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's not. It was not nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be before we started playing with it.
Do they count as a filled space?
Yes,
but they are X'd, so they are neutral. X'd.
It's just destroying those spaces.
Yes.
So,
but they are filled.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can kind of put them wherever, and then there's one that like there's 3 of them. 2 of them count as zeros for timer in cartographers, but the other one counts as 1. But it also has a gold piece on it where it does like the Tetris L piece. It's bigger, but you get a coin for it. Or there's an option for smaller, but if you take the bigger option, you get a coin for it, which is an interesting twist on the coin pieces. Because usually on the other cards, you take the smaller one and get the coin.
Yeah.
But this one's bigger, but it destroys more.
Oh, it's the lava.
It's the lava.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It definitely changed up the game. It felt like it went a little slower on filling stuff, I guess. But we were also playing with the new heroes tiles.
I mean, so realistically, there are more cards that were added in there.
Yeah. Yes. There was more stuff in there because you were drawing. There's 4 heroes. And then you put 1 hero in every season, just like you would put 1 ambush monster card in. But there's the 3 lava cards in there now. There's the ruins cards that are in there. The ruins thing in the rules was kind of weird because it didn't say, because the heroes does not come with ruins, but the rule book is like, make sure you have ruins in here.
If you're using them, make sure they're there regardless.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
So
you would need to own Cartographers, the base one, in order to get those ruins. That's how they get you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Okay.
weird because all the maps have ruins spots on them.
Okay.
Also, Heroes comes with a new base set of that is just kind of like just like regular Cartographers, but now it's like a new layout. There's a backside. There's a new different layout.
Basically 5. If you buy all the map packs, then there's 5 different maps you can play on each, and they're double-sided, so then that's 10 total.
Yeah, so there's 10 different ones, and then each of the new map packs comes with
Something.
So the lava one goes into the regular season card deck, but the other ones are new scoring cards because it's like above and below ground. So you need to be able to score it differently. The other one is a bunch of sky islands. So you can't do like the straight across sort of scoring because there is no straight across. It's all these separate little divided islands.
So it's the scoring cards that are about positional. Those are specific to those other maps.
Okay.
So
Cool.
Also, the bad guys, we didn't really see them, but like the bad guys, like the new bad guys and the heroes have a lot more ability. Like they have abilities, like there's zombies that'll grow every season, or dragons that will give you coins when you defeat it, but it's big, so you're gonna have to spend a lot of time covering it.
The Medusa that will destroy spots next to it and stuff like that because it turns it to stone.
Okay.
Yeah, so like the 4 new ambush monsters have like per season like growth sort of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course I have the promo pack, so there's 12 different ambush cards now.
Yep.
Ooh.
Fancy. I have like literally all of Cartographers now. So yeah, we played Cartographers. It went well. We played with Pat. Pat was there for game night.
Okay.
Yeah, northern practically Alaska.
Yeah,
Pat.
basically.
Yeah. And then we went to Shredsgiving. First game we played was Unearth. It's sort of like a dice bidding auction-y, not auction-y, but a dice bidding game where like there's a bunch of these tarot cards and they have numbers on them between like 9 and 17. And once you hit or get greater than 17, whoever has the largest die with the most, the largest numbered die with the most facings on that card will take the card, and then it's set collection. So there's like 5 different colors. And then if you roll like a 1, 2, or 3, there's these little like tiles that you get off there that are a bunch of different colors. And then if you align them in like specific like sets of 2 in like a circle, sets of like 2 sets of 3 in the circle, there will be these other tiles that are like wonders that you get that will give you a bonus for the rest of the game.
Okay.
I got a bunch of those tiles and then I fucked up and like didn't close out any of them. And which was totally fine because I totally won. Based off just the set collection alone. But I would have won more. I would have won more.
Can always win more.
Yeah, you can always win more. But there's a bunch of these little modifier cards because all the die of the colors that didn't win when someone takes one of those tarot cards gets these like Delver cards that you get like additional powers for. It's like on your next D6 roll, get +2. But if you roll a 6, like every single fucking time I played that card, you just roll a hard 6 anyways. And you waste the card. So I knew if I played that card, I would just roll a 6 anyways, and it worked every time. Unearth was fun. It was fine. Totally, it was just meh. It was a game.
Okay.
I played Flip City Wilderness, which is a combination of Mystic Vale without the card construction and Machikoro.
Okay.
So you start with
It was Flip City what?
Wilderness. There's 2.
I have Flip City.
And there's a Flip City Wilderness.
Okay.
But it has like a similar mechanic of push your luck like Mystic Vale, where it's these unhappiness markers, which is your blight or whatever you want to call it in Mystic Vale. And you can keep pushing your luck, but there will be cards that force you to draw the trailer parks in this, because it's like a city building sort of thing, like Machikoro. But you can flip the cards, and then they still have unhappiness, but they won't force you to draw anymore. And then when you pay a certain like 9 money, you can just be like, flip this card back to trailer park and give it to someone else, and now it's in their deck. So you're just kind of like pushing your luck and then buying better cards, flipping cards, and until you get to a run where you get 8 victory points, which are these little like laurel things on them, then you win. We went through a couple rounds and we sort of got it, but the wind, we were playing outside at outer range, and the wind picked up, and we were like, all right, let's call it. It's like these cards are blowing around everywhere.
Yeah.
Flip City was totally fun.
Yeah, I like
It has all
regular Flip City. It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay. I played the Crew Deep Sea. Deep Sea, is that all it's called?
Mission Deep Sea.
Mission Deep Sea. It was the first time I have played the Crew in any way, shape, or form. It is a trick taking game.
Mm-hmm.
It is a game where
cooperative trick
cooperative trick taking game. It helps to know like how to play trick taking games to play that game. Which I generally understood, but it was sort of like, why did you play the one? I don't know. It was a card that I played. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to play.
Who were you playing with?
Aunt, Paul, and Julie.
Oh, yeah,
okay,
wow.
Paul, that's why. All right.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't fucking know. I don't play trick-taking games. I know that, like, an objective is, I was like, well, you should have kept the lead. And I was like, how the fuck am I supposed to know that I'm supposed to keep the lead? Like, I know I have this objective, and I know that, like, if I'm the lead, I can't complete this objective, so I need to hand it off. So I played a low card so someone else could take the lead, and apparently I was supposed to know everyone else's fucking cards at all points.
Yeah, you really should have.
Yeah, really.
Fuck you, Jeff.
Yeah. We want to...
Didn't know you were such a piece of shit.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Jeff, I think we're going to need you to leave the podcast.
Yeah. But the other rounds went better. I think we won like 2 of the 3 rounds that we played. So
nice. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
But it was generally it was neat, a neat way to make like a trick taking game with all the like little objectives and stuff like that. It's like I need the blue 4 and the pink 7.
What was the most complex objective you guys dealt with?
Nothing was super like weird. It was like I need to finish the game with the blue 1, 2, and 3. Nothing was super complex though.
So
like have 2 9s, or have 3 or more 9s.
So I played with one. Oh, go ahead.
So you had multiple objectives.
We had an objective per person.
One per person?
Yes.
Oh, okay. The way you were saying, like, you know, you need to end with like the 1, 2, 3 or whatever. I thought like you personally. So I thought you guys were playing like 12 objectives. And I was like, you never really played trick taking games and they made you have 3 objectives and then they yelled at you?
No. The first round we only had 2 objectives.
Okay.
And then after that we went to 4 objectives each.
Okay.
And they were interesting. Mm-hmm. They were interesting turns on it.
Did you have anyone that was like you have to win like an orange or not an orange, a yellow and a green on the same trick? As many yellow as green on the same trick?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't think we had. So, there was one that was like win more orange than blue or blue than orange.
Yeah, those ones aren't too bad. The hardest one that I have had to have so far was you have to win a 4. No, you have to win an 8 with a 4.
Oh God!
So that means I have to play a 4.
Somebody has to throw.
Pink. I have to play. Yeah, I have to win a trick with a 4 of pink, and somebody else needs to have thrown an 8 that they don't. That is not pink, because
so they have to like not have whatever color you threw.
Yeah,
and then have an 8.
Those kinds of ones start to feel like ones that like you could just be screwed from from the hand. Like
oh yeah,
like the base crew, all of the different versions of the goals you can come up with all seem doable in theory in almost any hand. Like not necessarily, but close. That seems like that could just like most of the time would just not be.
There are some ways to like one, if you're playing with the harder objectives, theoretically you're going to have less objectives than people, and you can like some people can pass on certain things if they want. And then there's also like a beacon where you can pass cards around a little bit if you want to use that. I still haven't used it yet, but that one was hard. I think we tried that one 2 or 3 times, and we were never able to finish that one.
Yeah, one of the things was like you could communicate when choosing objectives, so we were able to like go through and talk about like I can do this one, I can't do this one at all, so you don't end up with like an objective just tossed to you at random.
Yeah,
that helped a lot, and it was very much me like I can do this one. absolutely. And it was mostly everyone like, well, I can kind of do that one. And it was sort of your tiers of how much can I do that objective versus other objectives.
Yeah.
Like one of them was like, win a trick with a trump card. And it was like, I cannot possibly do that because I had no trump cards in my hand. So do not give me that. You can't say you don't have any trump cards in your hand and be like, I can't do that. But you can communicate to some, which helped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like Jeff's ready for Stitch 'em again.
Oh, God. And then the last thing I played, which was actually the second thing I played right after Unearth, was Star Wars Rebellion. I had texted Ant before Shredsgiving and was like, do we want to do like some War of the Ring, Rebellion? He was like, yes. So we played Star Wars Rebellion with the expansion, Rise of the Empire expansion.
One-on-one?
One-on-one.
Okay.
We had set it all up, and then Ant was like, oh, fuck, I have to be working right now. And then he disappeared for a couple hours, and then he came back. And then we finally started.
I still want to play the 2 Empire, 1 Rebellion.
Yeah.
But anyhow.
We played with the Rise of the Empire expansion, which changes up all of the
combat.
Now there are 2 decks of space and ground combat cards, and you have full access to them, and you can look at them at any time. It is just a kind of like 8 card deck with a like top and bottom. If you have a unit that is in represented in the top, you can use the top power. If not, you can use the bottom power. You always have to play a card, but usually everything on the bottom is slightly useful. Just at least, deal a damage, block a damage, or etc. Just kind of random stuff, which made combat much better. They kind of hooked in because before, like the heroes you would use would have those tactics numbers, and that would be how many cards you would draw. Now that is just blank how many rerolls you get in that combat. So if they're better at space, they have a 3 space, you get 3 rerolls.
Okay.
That's kind of what the space combat changes are, and it was good. I liked it a lot.
Good to hear.
We only did a couple space combats, but that was about it.
Were you Empire?
I was the Imperials, yes.
Yeah.
My probe was like, all right, let's probe everything in the middle and then just like a little bit of specs on the outside. At the end of the game, basically the entire outer rim of the board was unprobed. And I was like, which one of these, like, out of 12 options could it be? And I just started moving, and it was just like way too late because like I was like, I could not thin this down because it's the entire outer edge of the board, and which is very useless for most people. We played a randomized map generator of there's someone made a generator of like to be able to like lean more to one side or the other, and it randomizes between like 0 and 5 because we wanted to lean a little more to the rebels for like handicap, I guess. Where it would handicap the Imperials more.
Sure.
And then the randomizer like maxed out the handicap towards the rebels.
Oh,
it was 4.7 of the 0 to 5.
Jesus.
So he started with a bunch of like the square blue resources, which make his like biggest ship. Downside is like he won before they even got on the fucking board. So because they were like in the 3s. But in Rise of the Empire, you start with like an unconstructed Death Star, and I sort of put it off to the edge, and then he put his base on like the opposite side of the map. I didn't spread out enough, and it was sort of like, I don't know, newbie rebellion, like, oh, I need to have transports to put things into more planets, and he was just like getting like loyalty like every round somewhere because I couldn't like compete against it. And there's not really because you can capture leaders, and in the Rise of the Empire, like there you get the one capture. There's no carbonite, so you can only ever capture one, and then you have a ton of mission cards, which I got immediately that just filled my hand that were just about like interrogating the person you capture. You can't really do anything with the person you capture, but you can interrogate them, and it wasn't useful information every time I was doing it. It was like, interrogate them with somewhere and like destroy units. And I was just like, this is
weird.
Yeah. In the Rise of the Empire, it's not like about like capturing and like killing and stuff like that. It's about capturing and then interrogating because you're on the early Empire kind of side of things.
Sure.
So it did feel different with the new mission cards.
Okay.
It had a different sort of general arc to the game.
Is there any way that you can just use like the combat of this and then okay.
So at the beginning of the game, you can bid which deck you want to use. So you'll show the expansion symbol or the neutral symbol if you want to use the base game cards or the regular cards. So so you can mix and match which set of mission cards you want to use, but you can still use all of the new combat and stuff like that.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But there were so many cards, and you weren't getting. I don't know. It was interesting. I would like to play more, like most Rebellion games. Like I want to play more because then I could learn this game, and then I don't play it for 3 years.
That's asking a lot.
Yeah. But Rebellion was still good. Ant ended up winning as the Rebels. I didn't even get close to. I probed a fuckload, but because my probes weren't culling the edge, there was just a million edge planets left, and I couldn't figure out where the fuck he was in any way, shape, or form. And then I ended up being like a bunch of my forces were on the left side of the map. I need to get on the right side of the map, and movement is not fast in that game. And early on, I made the critical error of like, I'm not moving at all because I'm a fucking idiot. And I don't know that movement is so critical in this game. Also, it helped that Ant got like every fucking recruit mission card possible. I think he ended up with 11 heroes at the end of the game. Yeah.
Wow. That's
yeah.
crazy.
11 heroes. I had Leia captured almost the entire game, but once I started having to do things and he started he was able to just like respond to everything I could do, and then I was doing my usual roll bad, but I was winning the combats and stuff like that pretty well. The new combat cards are cool, but when he had so many heroes, he could just respond to everything, and I had just not moved enough to play like the power of the Empire. Because I was so afraid of like going anywhere and only leaving one dude and him just playing the mission card of be like, boop, it's mine now. Boop, it's mine now. But he was doing that anyway with like just getting loyalty and stuff like that. It's a new set of cards that you don't really know.
You're not on good footing when the Empire is afraid to do something.
Yeah. But I mean, it was still fun. It was good.
Nice.
It's good. It continues to be good. I still want to play more. I fiddled around with the Tabletop Simulator mod. The Tabletop Simulator mod is very good. It's not like amazing, but it is very good.
Okay.
It's not like, I have detected that you have placed a person here. That means you want to activate the system to move this, and then it won't like auto highlight everything that's adjacent to it or anything like that.
So it's not as good as Twilight Imperium.
No, it is not. But it is quite competent for what it does.
Nice.
Okay.
Rebellion still fun.
Nice. That it?
Yes.
Right on. I'm going to fast forward through pretty much a lot of mine because we've already been here an hour and 15 minutes. And none of my stuff is super new. Megan and I played some more Descent before we left for Thanksgiving. It continues to be really, really good.
I was going to say this looks familiar.
Yep.
It sure does.
Yeah, really like Descent. Hoping to play some more of that. While at Thanksgiving,
Did you try out Chance yet?
Yes.
What'd you think of him?
Chance is super cool.
Right? Yeah.
Chance is super cool. When we finished the first game with Chance, it was definitely a situation where we got done, and the way we kind of divvied up the characters was like we each had our own 3. And I was like, so how about like the 2 we chose? Like those are our main 2. But then those other 2, we just kind of mix and match them because I definitely want to play more Chance. And I don't really want to play any more of the Dwarf Artificer. So, but yeah, I really like Descent. It's been a bunch of fun. Plays really well at 2 players, like double-handed.
I can see that, yeah.
So, then during Thanksgiving, I taught my dad and his wife a bunch of different games to varying degrees of success. They liked Cartographers. They're going to look to try and maybe find a copy of it. They really liked Quest for El Dorado and want a copy of that because that's another one that's just really straightforward on how you play it. Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition almost broke. Kim, she spent most of the game like, I still don't know what I'm doing or why, and like, so Megan was like helping her through, but it looked like she was winning for almost the entire thing. Until like right at the very end when we did final scoring, and I just scored a bunch of points. But I think we were all like, all four of the scores were like adjacent to each other.
Gotcha.
So that was kind of cool. Played a couple games of euchre. I hadn't played euchre in forever. Played it at Jolly Pumpkin Brewery in Detroit, which is a brewery in Detroit. Makes really good pizza, pretty good beer. Yeah. I think there was something else that I played, but I don't remember what it was. I know
Quest for El Dorado.
Yeah,
No,
you
I
already
said that one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Megan taught him Wordsy, but that wasn't one I played. She did that while I was taking a shower, and they really liked it as well. Anyway, neither here nor there. The game I am going to talk about, because I want to talk about it a little bit, we haven't done an episode in 2 weeks, which means there's been 2 game nights, which means, Jeff, we have not talked about our game of Cryo that we played at Table.
Yeah.
So Jeff introduced me to Cryo at
Public table.
public table house.
Public house.
Table public house, something like that. Yeah, so it was me and Jeff
Such a generic
and
name.
Wes and Pat. No,
It's not bad.
that wasn't Pat.
No.
Anyway.
All I know is it wasn't me.
Anyway, Cryo is super cool. I liked Cryo a lot. Jeff has played it a few times. I think he's talked about it a couple times maybe on the
I
show.
think I played it twice.
Ah.
Yeah. 2-player and 4-player.
But we definitely talked about it back when it was on Kickstarter, I think, or when it was getting announced.
It was when it was Z-Man. It wasn't a Kickstarter.
That's right.
But it was like, this game is expensive. And then I
Yeah.
ended up buying it on like a sale that I was like, this makes this game vaguely reasonable.
You played it at MHGC, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But basically, thematically, you're crashed adventurers on an icy planet.
Colonists.
You're
There was a
colonists.
rebellion. There was
Yep.
fighting on the cryo ship. The cryo ship exploded in orbit of this planet. And now they're like, we shouldn't be here because we can barely survive.
Yeah, so you're each a different faction, and you're trying to explore down into the caves where it's warm enough to survive, and you've got to go find and pull your crew, your like faction's cryopods out of sleep and use them to colonize down below. And so the colonizing the caves is like an area control area for different amounts of points. And then the upper area, the surface, is an action selection using your little drone markers. And then there's an engine building aspect where you're adding tokens to your player board. It's like a double layer one, so you can add them in. You have like 5 docks for your drones. So when you go to pull back, you have 3 drones, and you can put them in 3 of the 5 spots. And the one you put it in activates it, and it's like a little resource conversion engine. Like, if you put it here, you can turn a green like food organic resource into a crystal resource, or in another
Or a card draw
Yeah.
or whatever, because it has like pull a cryopod, get a card draw, or play a card, or nano, which is the wild.
Yeah. And so you can really build that to make your engine run kind of however you want it to.
It's an engine creation game.
Yeah. And it's got multi-use cards that you can either use
4 times multi-use cards.
Yeah, you can trash them just for the resource that's on them, or you can tuck them above your player board to give you like a power. You can have 3 different powers. You can play them on the bottom edge, and they become vehicles that you use to send those pods down into the caverns, and it determines how many pods you can send at a time. Or you can put them face down off to the side, and they have like a little end game scoring objective.
Missions.
And so you kind of want to do a little bit of all of those, like they have really good, powerful abilities if you get your 3 abilities, but you also need to have some to take crew down because you're going to score a bunch of points off the caves, things like that. It was a really cool game. I really enjoyed it.
It's really tight,
yeah.
and like everything in the game can be multi-use. Like where you put your drone workers, there's the little trapezoids that you can put onto your platform to make that engine, or you can just scrap them to get the resource. So you don't always have to like absolutely take it. And then at any point you can just be like, I want to change my engine, and I have done an action, so I'm going to scrap that off for a resource, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to put something else there.
Yeah.
So you can kind of change things up based on what you have versus what you need.
Kind of on the fly.
But at all times it feels like you don't have enough to what you want.
No, yeah.
It's tight.
Everyone was constantly complaining. We were all complaining about different resources, but we were all complaining about not having enough of a resource.
Which is, I think, very thematic for the game of, like, you are on this crash ship on a surface of a planet, and you're not going to get everything you want.
No.
Because it is very not ideal circumstances.
Yeah.
The game, not ideal, but fun.
A lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I really liked Cryo.
Yeah, Cryo's good.
I
I just saw an article about, like, that they published about, like, they had a little article about the, like, art of Cryo, and they had, like, an interview with the artists and stuff. I was like, oh,
cool.
weird. Came out, like, last
Neat.
year. Great components.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of components.
Yeah. I really liked it. I would happily play it again
Yeah,
sometime.
Cryo's good. I like Cryo.
Right on. That's it for what I played board game wise. I think I played something else at game night, back at Public Table, and then I wasn't at Burns because I was traveling. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was nice to get a bunch of gaming in with family, even if some of it kind of went over their heads. But you know, gotta bring people into the hobby somehow.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's just hitting them in the face with Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition until they
Kicking and screaming.
So, I don't really have a lot for banter, especially because we're already running a little long. Do you guys have any bantery things you want to banter about? I guess I do have one thing.
What?
I started watching Ted Lasso. Holy fucking shit, is Ted Lasso good? I'm probably going to finish it today or tomorrow. It's really good.
That's what I've heard.
Ted Lasso is very good. You are correct.
I saw Ghostbusters.
Afterlife.
Afterlife.
Yeah.
That was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia the movie.
So I've heard.
Also saw the new Disney Encanto.
Mm.
The new.
Oh,
the new
yeah.
That's pretty good. I liked
Okay.
it.
It looked good. I'm interested
Yeah.
in that one.
It is. It has sort of a different formula than a lot of. Basically, the adventure isn't going off to a far off place. It all takes place around the house, which is sort of interesting.
Because the trailer made it looks like it is have a go off adventure. I thought.
I thought it didn't. I don't know, but it doesn't. I thought, good performances in it and stuff like that.
Nice.
There was definitely some catchy music in there, although Lin-Manuel Miranda is the one that like made all the songs for it, and I was just like, I think it was like one of the opening songs. I was like, man, I can't wait to rewatch this again with subtitles so I can actually understand what some people are saying, because it's just going by. Some of the things are going by so quick that I'm like,
sure.
I'm just like, oh, it just sounds pretty at this point. At BGG Con, I strained my knee, so that was fun.
Yeah.
By also rolling your ankle off a curb.
Which that's standard practice, as my ankle is shitty. But their sidewalk to driveway transitions are very abrupt, and I didn't notice it in time. Rolled it, then I had to put all my weight on one leg unexpectedly in a straining motion, and so
Not ideal.
Not ideal.
In a straining motion.
Which sucked because we were going to barbecue to do it, and it's like it was real good barbecue, but like I could only like half focus on it, and it was just like, oh, this is disappointing. And then Lance dropped me off at urgent care, and they looked at it and then gave me a knee brace.
Yeah.
And so
It was Texas barbecue. How good could it be?
the sausages were real good.
It's good.
It was good.
It's good.
Jeff?
So all of my game playing mostly took place at Shredsgiving
Yeah.
because we went to the snowboard condo up in Dillon, Colorado, and hung out. Paul, Julie, Ant, and I. We watched a fuckload of movies. We watched both the Kingsman movies, which I had not seen before. Those were entertaining. Watched Euro Trip, which I have not seen since 2004.
How much of that doesn't hold up now?
Like 15%.
Okay, that's
Most of 20%.
I have a feeling most of it. I can't think of anything
There
in
was-
it that
there was-
super doesn't.
There was less problematic things than I remember, but it is still very problematic. But only about 20% of it was very problematic.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Lucy Lawless was great.
Oh yeah, she's in that movie. Yeah.
Matt Damon's great in that movie.
Matt Damon is great. When I was at Denver Beer Co. earlier today, someone was playing a punk rock like playlist, and Scotty Didn't Know came on, and I was like, I just watched this movie. This is weird. I know this song. Eurotrip, it still kind of holds up. It's still pretty rapey in parts. Watched RoboCop while I watched RoboCop off to the side because we were playing Rebellion at the time. Watched Train to Busan.
Yes.
Ooh, good one.
Yeah, that was the first movie of the weekend. That was like a Thursday morning after snowboarding movie.
There you go.
Yeah, it was good. It was very good.
Yeah.
It had Gilgamesh from the Eternals in it.
Yes, it does.
I was like, I know that guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
It also, the main character of that one is, if you watch Squid Game, he's the guy in the beginning with the throwing of the paper.
Yeah, the paper throwing at the train station. He's the train station Squid Game guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. That was very good. I liked it a lot.
Yep.
Cool.
And then I also snowboarded.
Yeah, how'd that go?
For the first time in 1,034 days.
Oh, Jesus.
Since I had shattered my leg.
I was going to say, it was
Almost
that 3 years.
Over 3 years. Yeah, no.
Yeah, not quite 3 years, because it would be January next year. That would be 3 years. So almost 3 years. The first 10 feet were a little problematic. I stood up fine, but it was very much of like, all right, how do I mechanically do things again? Like, how do you turn? Because it's not just like, it's a lot of weight distribution and like it's a lot of my brain being like, how do I make this weight distribution work to where I don't fall down, but also turn? And then Ant was like, your first 10 feet were pretty rough, but after that, you did great. And I fucking did awesome for not having gone in almost 3 years.
Cool.
We did School Marm down to the Montezuma lift. The arches of my feet were by far the worst. I was going way too much on my toes and not like resting more like on my boots, you know, kind of like where you rest your shins towards the front when you're going toe side, stuff like that, if you have to go a long ways. And I wasn't resting my board down low enough because I wasn't really comfortable with it yet. And so my feet were absolutely killing me.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Once I got done with that, went up on the lift, felt fine. Did the blue spring dipper.
Okay.
That one?
Down the backside?
Yeah, down the left. No.
Oh, down. Yeah.
The one to the left.
Yeah.
It might not be spring dipper.
No, I think it is.
Okay. Did
it's
that.
something dipper.
Yeah. Did that and fucking shredded down the fucking mountain. And it was awesome. And then we did School Marm again, past the lift and went all the way to the bottom. I was very exhausted at the lift portion. Took a little break and then did the rest of it. But yeah, it all came back pretty fast.
Yeah,
I did pretty well for what I thought it was going to be, which was a shit show. So yeah,
glad you had a successful day back on the mountain.
Very successful.
Did you only do the one day riding?
Yeah, my pass was blacked out Friday, Saturday, so I could only go Thursday.
Gotcha.
Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
You have as many days on the mountain as me now.
Yeah.
This season.
One.
Yeah, we want to try and go again, but apparently we missed a bunch of great snow while we were off in Michigan at like Berthoud and stuff. Like the Reddits for like some of the local backcountry stuff was like, oh, that looks so wonderful. I'm sad I missed it.
Yeah. But I'm glad I sort of just really popped back into it. It was totally fine.
Totally.
So much so that Aunt was like, Julie, do what Jeff does.
Nice.
Mostly with the turning portions, but yeah. I was picking up some speed. I had a couple falls, but nothing more than the amount of that I had fallen in the past.
Sure.
Tweaked my hip a little bit, and I was like, I'm just going to let this sit here for a second. And then, all right, let's go.
Cool. Awesome. Glad it went well.
I was getting my boots on and going faster than you did, apparently. It's always the Adrian wait time.
Which nobody's ridden with me in forever now. Like, I put my boots on standing up. I don't even sit down anymore.
Okay.
Like, I do them quick. I'm good to go.
Yeah. I was sitting there catching my breath, and he's like, what are you, Adrian?
Rude.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I'm glad you're back on the mountain.
Yeah, the leg felt fine. The most it hurt was when I was on the lift and where the board was hanging and my knee was bothering me just a tiny bit.
My knee bothers me a bit where the board hangs. It puts a weird like tweak, like sideways tweak on it.
So I
great.
just put my foot underneath the other binding, and it was fine.
Yep.
Especially because I was sitting next to Julie, who rides Goofy anyways. So it was, yeah. It's like, this isn't going to bother you at all.
Yeah,
And then you're back.
yeah.
And you're back.
Cool. Yeah, I think that about covers it.
Yeah.
Punt news and Kickstarter, and we'll jump straight over to some listener feedback.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com if you would like to send us an email like the hater Andrew himself did, titled Writing in Support of Your Sponsor. I gotta say, I was real happy to hear that you're being sponsored by Givewell at the moment. I love them and have donated through them for several years now. I usually find one of their top 10 charities that calls me to donate one amount to that charity and then an equal amount to Givewell's general fund for them to decide what the best allocation would be. My only regret is I won't be able to take advantage of their first-time donor promotion and give you all credit for it. But I hope others listening to this will. Givewell is fantastic, and I'm really happy they're sponsoring you. Cheers, Andrew.
Yeah. So there you go. Fantastic ringing endorsement from Andrew, formerly the hater.
Yes.
Who often provides us with good quality information and corrects our silly, stupid mistakes about all things history.
Yes. I saw a funny meme recently that was Roman. It was like a Roman centurion be like, I'm going to crush all you stupid heathens. And he's like, are you sure you're going to win out at the end? Why is this in English then? And he's like, he's got the mean face and then everything's on fire in the background.
That's pretty good.
Why isn't this in Latin then?
I like it.
Yeah, it was good. I think it was on history memes or something like that.
Right on. That's it for listener feedback.
Yep.
I don't think we had anything else.
Nope.
If you would like to give us some feedback, you can do so by sending us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can find us over on Twitter, where I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
I am Jeff_MHGG.
We have an Instagram account @MHGameGuys, Facebook.com/MHGameGuys. Website, go to punchboardmedia.com. Check out all of the other awesome contributors over there. And while you're there, search for MHGG or Mile High Game Guys to find our posts with links to the news and Kickstarter items we usually talk about, as well as to things like our Slack channel, which is an excellent place to come hang out and shoot the breeze and talk shit. It's a bunch of fun. We have a BGG guild number 2731. If you want to like us or follow us or whatever BGG has over there.
Mean, people know people that are fans of us because of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned Mike Jones bought something on the BGG market, and whoever he bought it from was a fan of the show and be like, are you the Mike Jones from Mile High Game Guys?
Oh, no, I hadn't heard that story. I was wondering what you mentioned.
Because he had the badge, and he was like, you must be that Mike Jones. And it was just a guy that he had bought it from.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I did meet
You ran into a fan.
Yeah. In Texas, I was just waiting for coffee, and he was just like, "Hey, are you?" Because the badge has my name on it, but I didn't have I forgot to bring the.
I think we might be out of the ribbons.
No, I have a
we
good
have
stack
plenty
of them.
of ribbons.
Oh, I'm out of ribbons.
You're out of
there.
ribbons.
well,
yeah.
we can share. I can share.
I'll have
Yeah.
to borrow some more.
But he was just like, "Oh, are you Zach from Mile High?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah." And I was just
Yes,
like,
I am.
I was like, "How did you?" Like in my mind, I was like, "How did you?" And I was like, "Oh, right, the badge." Yeah.
the badge
So I
that
talked
says
for a bit.
Zach back
His name was Joshua, I believe.
Okay.
And he was about to play Vanuatu.
Oh,
So
nice.
I was like, that's a cool
I
game.
like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Very mean Euro game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hope it worked out well for him. I hope he backstabbed everyone in that game, and everybody hates him now because of how good he did in that game.
The first question I had to Zach when he mentioned that, he was like, some dude just said noticed me, and I was like, was he cool? Because I don't care if he's not cool.
Well, he's playing Vanuatu, so I'll count that as cool.
Yeah.
Team Adrian for sure.
Yeah, that's all the different ways to get a hold of us. You can also, run into us randomly at cons or find, friends of the show on BGG when they
buy things from you.
from you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be sure to follow us over on Twitch, twitch.tv/MHGameGuys, so you can see notifications when we go live, because we do these episodes. We broadcast them live as we record, so you get a behind-the-scenes look. Gives you a chance to chime in on the chat over there and be included on the show live as we record it, and all of that's fun stuff. And then just another quick little plug for our sponsors. We're doing a sponsorship with Givewell. They are an organization to help you choose charities to donate to. And right now, if you donate through them, givewell.org. And if you choose podcasts, you can then type in Mile High Game Guys. It autofills even. And if you put that in there, they will match you up to $250 on your donation. So if you're feeling generous here during the holidays and want to give to charity, you can do that because charity's good.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's going to be everything. I'm going to go watch a bunch of Ted Lasso. Thanks everybody for listening. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I am the Ninja Turtles' most feared enemy, Shredder Jeff.
Bye.
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 Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.